Braylon, I know you were at the Jalen Rose Academy yesterday. Before we get to that, happy birthday to your dad.
Yes.
Yes, Stan.
Stan, happy birthday.
Today is, my hero, my father. It's his birthday. We went to his father, my grandfather's funeral this past Saturday, and Dad went up there and he spoke. Just did an amazing job. The respect that my father has garnered over the years, it speaks to the greatness of who he is. Wangler was there. He showed love. Fred Brockington, his college roommate, was there. Cohen, the DB that played on his team, was there. Tim Walton from the NFL. Just a lot of people showed love. And it is his birthday. You talk about an individual that has done so much in the city of Detroit in terms of bringing kids along with his track program, maximum output. Look at Pops. And guess what? 43 definitely didn't catch him. Speaking of Michigan, he doesn't get the credit he deserves. 2,040 yards, 19 touchdowns in total. He made all Big Ten his freshman year and would have been the starting running back. Messed up his ankle in spring practice. Insert Butch Wolfo. Dad is the quintessential, the team guy. Never batted an eye. Bo asked to move him to fullback. He moved to fullback. He blocked. He didn't bat an eye. The thing that he did with the track program in terms of, I get kids that come up to me all the time. Thank you for sharing your father with me. I'm talking about kids that have gone on from the city of Detroit, didn't even have a chance, but because of maximum output, because of my father and the hours that he put in, you're talking about over 100 scholarships from kids in the city of Detroit. He is an amazing man. Proud to be his son. I hope he knows that. Happy birthday, Pops. Love you, man.
All right.
And a handsome devil.
Yeah.
Well, he is. That's where I get it from. You know what I'm saying? But he's just great,
man.
The hardest relationship in life is the father-son relationship. It just is. I know women, the mother-daughter, it's a weird one too. But the father-son is a very, very interesting dynamic. Mm-hmm. And I feel like in this space now, he and I have figured it out. He and I have a fix on what it is. So he's my plus one. He's my guy. My ride or die. Love him to death.
It's very rare, too, in your case, and Stan, we love you. Happy birthday.
Legend.
That you do have, I feel like you're in a different space, too, because you literally have a legend for a dad.
Right.
Yeah.
You literally became a legend yourself.
Yeah.
Third round draft pick back when there was 15 rounds. Just throwing that out there.
Right. So, I mean, and just not to date myself too much, but when, I told my dad that I was doing a radio show or a streaming show with you. He didn't care that it was Braylon Edwards. Nope. You're doing it with Stan's kid? You know what I mean? It's
right.
It's like a generation. So you're talking about a legend for a father. You become a legend in your own right as well. Yeah. That's a lot of it's a lot of headbutting going on.
It is.
I would think.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
There's definitely a lot of headbutting going on. You know how that goes. But you just, as you get older, you look back and you're like, all right, we got to figure this thing out.
Well, when you get older, you appreciate
that part.
When you're in the thick of it, you're not thinking like that.
You can't even look and see the things that you later appreciate. Like now, the appreciation for what he did for these young men, these young women in the city of Detroit. He's just a consummate great human being. Like the things and the hours that he's put into other people's kids. He used to take people home after track practice. Meanwhile, I'm his son, live right around the corner and his house. I'm like, Pops, can you drop me off first before you do that? We wouldn't get home sometimes at 10:30, 11 o'clock, dropping kids off, but making sure that these kids got the track practice, they got that camaraderie, that community, and it set them on a course to get to college. Maybe track wasn't the way, but they got there because of track, because of my father, man. So I've never been more proud than this past weekend.
And he got into it with Stoney on the radio, which I love.
Hey, 100%. My dad, he wants to smoke.
Defense.
He wants to smoke.
But it's one of those things, too, just, when you talk about your dad helping other kids, you get something out of it when you give back.
Yeah.
How many times, Braylon, I'll speak for you and I, when we went to MC the Mott Children's Hospital thing, they ask us to do something.
Yeah.
And we're the ones that kind of walk out with like wow, man, we took way more enjoyment out of that probably than the crowd and the kids and the parents and the families and the doctors and the nurses took from us that night. I envision your dad, a guy with many blessings.
Yeah.
When he gives back and sees 100 kids move on to get college scholarships and everything like that, he probably gets just as much out of it internally as these kids do. It's that's what this whole thing is about, isn't it?
100% is about paying it forward. You know, my father, East Side, born and raised, Van Dyke in '94, went to Kettering. There were people that breathed life into him. There were people that brought him along. There were coaches, there were mentors, there was family members, his father, his mother, but they brought him along. He graduated, he goes to Michigan, he goes to the NFL, he comes back home, and what does he do? He's paying it forward to the next generation and the next generation that they can do some things to represent Detroit in a great way. Side note, I know you guys are looking at the hat like, what is going on? The country club vibe now at the country clubs is they take the last part of the name of the country club and call it the. So this is Walnut Creek. So it's not anything negative or nasty.
Love that.
It's the nut for Walnut Creek.
I was going to ask.
Yeah.
I thought it had something to do with the Buckeye. Don't think it.
Yeah, the Buckeye nut.
Yeah, the Buckeye nut.
Yeah, that's actually good. Why did I think of that?
That's what I thought it was. Like, we own that.
Creek. Shout out to T-Lo, man. He took me on the run and got me a hat, man. Appreciate it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I'd be remiss if I
You never met a hat you didn't like.
I did not. I never met a hat. And yesterday at the Jalen Rose outing, I got some more hats.
Hey, talk to me about that. That was incredible. We had that on Fox 2 earlier this morning. And first thing I walk in to work this morning, and my cameraman, Greg Walterhouse, says, we interviewed Braylon yesterday. Where were you? And it was just great that you were out there at the Jalen Rose Leadership Academy golf outing. So many celebs, my goodness.
Well, speaking of proud and just back to the city, people that have come back, Jalen's done a tremendous job. Year 15 of the outing. You see Charles Woods was there, Herman Moore was there, your boy was there, Isaiah. Shout out to Isaiah getting the love he deserves. Like, everybody got introduced, got some love. It was a warm welcome. But when Zeke showed up, the party shut down, as it should, and Jalen introduced him. But Jalen's been running this 15 years now in the space. People just assume that athletes have an endless supply of money. You just assume that the water never runs dry. When he first started this, full disclosure, $65,000 is what the boiler cost that broke in the school. And he's like, what do I do? Like, he's been boots on ground with this, and to start what they did, to get to year 15, to have a
all right, guys, let's get to some Detroit Lions talk now. The the coaches, the coordinators met with the media a couple of days ago and had some interesting takes. I'm going to take like a piece of sound from each of them. And one of the things, and we talked about this before, right? The biggest storyline for the Detroit Lions, what do you do at edge rusher? Who's going to line up opposite Aiden Hutchinson? And I told you, I hate to say, I told you, we might not be comfortable with Marcus Davenport. We might not be comfortable as fans with what they're going to do opposite Aiden Hutchinson.
Right.
But do you know who is comfortable with Marcus Davenport? The Detroit Lions.
I've seen it. We all know the only obstacle for Davenport is the health and availability. It's never had anything to do with his play. I'm talking about since he hit the scene as a first-round pick for the Saints. It's never been his play. It's always been the availability piece, like it is for every player. And he's had some setbacks in his career, but I've watched that player take no days off this offseason. He's been here just as long as the coaches have and putting in the work, and his body looks different right now. I firmly believe in speaking with him. His mindset is different right now. And then it's on me to understand what he's been through and kind of put a gauge on him, especially early in the process. Because when you look at Marcus, he's a physical specimen that could do some things that guys of his size aren't supposed to be able to do. So it's me kind of meeting him in the middle and telling him from my view, this is what I see for you to try to kind of get to the long-term goal, which is to have him healthy in the postseason when we hit that stretch. And he's all in, but I have full faith in that player.
Lions defensive coordinator Kelvin Shepard talking about Marcus Davenport and Bray, and I don't think that the talent has ever been the issue, as Kelvin Shepard said there, with Davenport. It is always about the availability. And look, he's never played a full season in his career. He missed 3 games in 18, 3 games in 19, 5 games in 20, 5 games in 21. In 2022 was the high water mark. He played 15 games, but he's played in 6 games in the last 2 seasons. He has essentially not played football for 3 years, dating back to 2022. We're in 2025 now. So what can you expect from this player? That is a question. I think it's a fair question that Lions fans are asking. What is the likelihood that Marcus Davenport, A, plays 14 games for you? And I think that's a reasonable amount of games to play in a 17-game season now and not be injured, what have you. So can you play 14 games, and can you play back to 2022 level 3 years ago? Can you regain that form?
This is what I start with. The situation, you know what it was. Brad Holmes went after a guy that was injured multiple times before he got here. He gets here, he gets injured. Nothing is on Marcus Davenport for me and for the fan base. It shouldn't be anything on Marcus Davenport. It's on Brad Holmes. Now, let me explain. Chris Jenkins was a teammate of mine. I know you know Chris Jenkins. And if you don't know Chris Jenkins, I know you know his son. He was on the national championship team up the road. He got hurt in 2008 before I joined the Jets. He got hurt in 2009 when I was on the Jets. In 2010 in the offseason, he put in tremendous work. Like, same thing he said. He was there every day. He was doing all the work. He was dialing, lost a lot of weight. You know, Chris is a big guy. Lost a lot of weight. He was poised and ready. We were excited for him. We were watching it right before our very eyes. And I'm telling you because it's very mirror. Right before our very eyes, we watched him. We supported him. In spring, that's not spring ball. In the preseason, we go down to Carolina. We go down. This won't happen. Knock on wood. Tears his ACL yet again and ends up retiring. All I'm saying is every year there's an injury with him. I appreciate the sentiment, and I appreciate that he's working hard. I know he's working hard. I've seen it. I know he's putting in that work, and I appreciate that they're showing love. They're supporting him. If it doesn't work, this will be Brad Holmes' fault. Mm-hmm. Like, if it does not work, it will be Brad Holmes' fault, and we will come here and say, look, we told you. An injured player that continues to get injured, what is he probably going to do? You're putting a lot on Davenport at this particular moment because you haven't beefed up that right side in terms of the edge. You're putting a lot on Davenport to play a type of game. If he can't live up to it, if he doesn't make the games, if he misses some games, if he gets injured, we won't be mad at Davenport because we understood he did everything that he could to try to get on this field for the Detroit Lions and be a great guy in the locker room. We'll be looking at Brad Holmes. You understood what this was in 2024, 2023, 2022, 2021, and you still chose to double down in a space where it's now. It's now.
Yes.
So I appreciate it, and I pray to God it works. But if it does not work, Maz, we are legitimately going to be at this desk like,
yeah.
So that's where I'm at with it. I want it to work. I'm supporting it. Let Brad cook. If it doesn't, we will revisit this conversation, man.
I can't even say it better than that.
No.
That's a mic drop. Yes, we're going to let Brad cook. We got no choice.
No.
Sure, we could voice our displeasure on not signing this guy, not signing this guy, not drafting this guy. They waited to the 6th round. They got Hassanin from Boise State. We all think he's going to be, he's terrific. He loves Detroit, blah, blah, blah. He's played 1 year of football or 2 years of football, whatever the hell it is. He's a project. Even though we've seen him sack quarterbacks in college, he is a project.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of depth on that defensive line. Sure, they shorted up in the draft. Again, they draft Williams, #1 pick, for the middle. And DJ Reader, Williams. We don't know what he's gonna. We don't know what's gonna happen with him either. And then you're waiting on your other guys too to come back. Aleem McNeil. Then you got to hope Onwuzurike stays healthy this year. He just got his contract. Is he going to play up to it now? We'll find out. But yeah, we're rolling with it. But like Braylon said, and I've said it a million times, you're one player away. We think you're one player away. He thinks, Brad Holmes, don't care. He wants to build a team that's going to win year in, year out. Maybe not win it all, though. And what has everyone said? They're building a Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers have no chance to win the Super Bowl most years. 90% of the years, they have no chance to win the Super Bowl. And I don't want that to become the Lions. Because then what? Then I will become a Toronto Maple Leafs disgruntled fan. How they hate their team now for what they put them through, 1967. They haven't won a Stanley Cup. Well, hell, we have not won an NFL championship since 1957, and we have not been to a Super Bowl, and we're coming up to Super Bowl 60. Yeah. This next Super Bowl is Super Bowl 60, and we joined the Houston Texans, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the expansion Cleveland Browns. Another spam call calling me in at this time. Those are the only freaking teams that haven't made the Super Bowl. We're one of them. It's embarrassing. So as good as the team is, you better be right, Brad.
Yeah, 100%. I'm cleaning that up just a little bit. I don't think they're building the Steelers. I think they're better than what the Steelers are doing right now. I know you do too. So that's that. But, excuse me. We love what Brad Holmes is doing. Don't take this as a knock to Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes is cooking. Look at what he did for the Lions. Appreciate it 100%. Ask yourself this, though, Brian, chat. If this were another team, if this wasn't your team, if we were watching another team do this, what would you be saying about the GM and the right side of the line?
It's malpractice.
100%. If this was not your team, see, right now it's your team, so you want to make sure. Hey, look, Brad. You know what I'm saying? No, don't say anything.
COVID, baby, it's malpractice.
Ben Johnson Law. Shout out to Ben Johnson Law. But you would be saying, why aren't they doing that? Why aren't they doing it? You would be saying it because it's our team. We don't want to say anything negative because we believe it's so fragile. If you speak negativity, it'll break. It's not. The Lions are here. Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, this team, they're here. It's not going to break. Can potentially get better.